If you're an anxious attacher, you probably have heard it a million times that we tend to confuse passion with anxiety. And it sounds so abstract that I could never really grasp what that means until I felt it in my real life. So I'll give you an example, a story, a comparison between two people, two dynamics, and how I was able to identify what's what. So let's talk about exhibit A. That's the person that I've met, a 10 out of 10 person. And then we started dating. And a few weeks in, the red flags started to show themselves. I, of course, disregarded them because I'm like, come on, this is it. This is what I have been looking for. But what happened later is that we got into this phase where he would text and then he would disappear for a couple of days and then he'll text again. Or I'll text, he'll take his sweet time. In the meantime, obviously, if you're an anxious attacher, you know that your nervous system will create that build-up, that suspense. So when he texts, you get that sense of relief. Before, I thought it was just this endorphins that I get from another person because of my feelings for him. Right? And then, when this relationship broke, it took me honestly forever to move on. And partially it was because of that intermediate reinforcement that I've experienced. Again, if you're not just encountering the topic of avoidant and anxious attachment loop, you'll know what I mean, right? So you get addicted, how people would get addicted to substances or gambling because you're not getting the same result every time. Sometimes there is a response, sometimes there is delay, sometimes there is no response, and your nervous system kicks into high alert. It's always hyper vigilant for different clues because your safety now depends on that response. So there's a number of factors that play into you feeling overall that this person has some significant effect in your life. These huge, intense emotions you feeling is love. But what it is, and I'll give you an example where it would, I think, make everything very, very clear. It's a mix of your anxious attachment, your dysregulated nervous system, intermediate reinforcement, and yeah, of course, there will be a percentage of this person being unique, interesting, exciting for you. Okay, so fast forward a few months, I'm meeting another person, and this person would not necessarily be someone I would take seriously or I would even consider dating, but somehow life puts us together. And I honestly think that it was for specific reasons. Now, one of them is for me to realize that when you put in this situation, when the person is hot and cold, far and close, you get wrapped up in the same emotional game, and then your body experiences the same thing as if you were with a person who you think is the person of your dreams. So again, if we put him outside of the attachment lens, he would be somebody I would not really consider dating. But being in the situation that we started communicating, and very, very soon, possibly because he is avoidant, possibly because he is emotionally unavailable, I don't know at this point, but he started doing the same thing. He would wait for 2 days and then he will send you 5 messages, right? And even though I knew I don't want any continuation to this, every time I would get that delayed message, I will feel relief. And then I start thinking, oh my God, I'm feeling the same as I was with the person, that exhibit 1 person, right? And this is that exact moment when I was like, okay, so that intense feeling, that relief that you get, is really the same feeling in both situations. So now, then I got to a very, very weird place because I asked myself a question. If we take that anxiety of waiting out of equation, what do you actually feel? So I do not have an answer to that question, because once you take the anxiety out, there is nothing left. This is how anxious attachment is actually messing with you, because you live through your body, you relieve the emotions in your body based on attachment figure. A lot of anxious attachers would also agree with me, and will think of themselves when they have very, very intense emotions towards somebody, and then time passes, they change the attachment figure, the emotions are the same, the person is different. And this is where for the first time I started thinking that maybe all these intense emotions that I've been feeling are not true love, because they're very similar from person to person, and it has very little to do with their unique set of qualities. So I think that particular situation, and let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you ever compared the feelings that you had for different people in your life, and how similar that anxiety was when you were waiting for a text message, or when you were waiting for a date, or when you were feeling that this is not gonna work, I am gonna get abandoned, and go into that spiraling. The most interesting thing for me right now is to find out how would I actually feel if we take out that anxiety out, and how it will differ from person to person. And I think the only way to actually experience that is to try to have a connection with a person who is secure, who is not going to give you that suspense and relief, because the only reason why you feel excited or you feel relieved is because you were in suspense for all of that time. In any event, this was my aha moment. It took me literally 40 years to understand that, and I do hope that this video could save somebody a little bit of time. Please listen to your emotions, listen to your body, try to understand what every situation in your life is trying to tell you. And choose wisely.